Good afternoon, fellow urban farmers, and welcome to yet another episode. Today we will talk about the potted plants that we have at work. Now, this project was done with a number of my co-workers who also enjoy gardening, so in this episode I really want to give you a sprinkle of inspiration and a little bit of information on how to look after your indoor vegetable plants, and I'll give you some tips towards the very end. We were talking about planting some plants at work for a while, then decided to plant a few vegetables just as a bit of an experiment, just to see how they were going to grow. It's actually very interesting to see that there are a number of people that were actually interested in seeing the process of planting. Some of these people haven't actually seen plants being planted before, so which was exactly what gardening is about. It's about sharing the knowledge. So we planted these plants in a windsill that gets plenty of sunlight. However, we weren't sure the quality of the sunlight that actually came in and how much UV rays were actually cut off. Now, we can't control the sunlight, which is fair enough, but what we can control is other factors that contribute to the plant's growth, such as the soil that it grows in. So we've used some really good compost soil with seed raising mix in the middle, and we've used the seed raising mix mainly because we grew the chilies as well as other veggies from seed. It's been more than 3 months now since we've planted them, and now they are starting to produce. We weren't really expecting this at all, but the chilies are producing very well and other plants are slowly taking off too. So we planted a number of plants such as chilies, rosemary, roses and a few other plants. As you can see, the chilies performed the best out of the lot, so it seems that this is the perfect climate for them. I'm not going to lie, we had to overcome a few problems. Some of these problems were with fungus and some were with pests. Most of these problems were resolved with neem oil. So one of the chilies we had to cut down vigorously because it actually grew too tall and was infested with spider mites. Another thing that was hindering growth at the start was watering. Now we've adjusted ourselves to watering schedule so that the soil doesn't dry out, especially during the weekend, and now the plants look really healthy. On average, on Monday after the weekend, we use about 1 litre to 1.5 litres of water. We now water daily with a fair amount of water because the water evaporates so quickly in this room, and this room seems to be constant of about 23 degrees Celsius, and near the window it gets even hotter. Once every 2 weeks we give them a bit of a boost with fertilizers, so that so far we've been giving the plants blood and bone. However, we also introduced some synthetic fertilizer just to provide some vital nutrients. As far as pollination goes, I just use the spray and spray the plants with water. So the pressure out of the nozzle spreads the pollen around. So as a consequence, we do have a few chilies that are pollinated and that are actually growing some chilies. I think in the future that we may want to pollinate chilies manually using a brush. In nature, this will be done by bees and perhaps some other flying insects. This is also the reason why we should never ever use insecticides and pesticides at home in our home garden. So we always choose the natural remedy. The way we would pollinate this with the brush is to collect a little bit of pollen from one plant and spread it onto the flower of another. Now this will ensure that we get a lot more produce, if we were after a lot more produce, of course. After having this garden up and running for a few months, here are my current top 5 tips for growing vegetables on a windowsill that helped us in keeping the plants healthy and green. So tip 1, have a watering schedule and water regularly, or set a system that will water regularly. These are small pots and really can't retain a lot of water, so it will dry out quicker than you would expect. And if you get pots with larger soil mass, then you probably won't need to water as much. Tip number 2, spray your plants with neem oil once every 2 weeks, and this will prevent pests and all the other things. Very much recommend this particular tip. Tip number 3, use good quality compost for planting, as this will keep the nutrients and moisture in the pot for longer. I can't stress this enough. Tip number 4 is to have the plants in the area where there is plenty of sunlight. The plants are not going to grow if they are put in a dark spot, unless it's the type of plant that actually doesn't like too much sun. Now tip number 5 is to trim the plants if you feel they are getting out of hand. If they're getting too big, give them a trim. Now this is also because the plants don't have much room for their roots, and it's easier to provide nutrients and water for a smaller plant than it is for a bigger one. So if you've got a bigger plant, don't be scared to give it a bit of a haircut. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this short video. I know a lot of you may have indoor plants, so if you have any tips for me from your own experience, please drop them down in comments below. On another note, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you liked the video, please press that like button. And if you think this could inspire someone to grow something at their workplace, please share the video with them. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.